All right, welcome back to my living room. We're doing some algebra. We've been having a lot of fun, at least I have. We've been learning how to solve quadratic equations, how to graph them, and today we're going to kind of step into something a little bit new. We're going to learn how to graph circles. All right? In fact, we're going to do more than that. We're going to learn about how to find the center and the radius of a circle. All right, we're probably going to do this in two parts, two different videos. All right, so first of all, let me give you the formula or the equation for any circle. All right, if you have a circle that is centered around the origin, right? This is the y-axis, this is the x-axis, right? There's the origin. That's why I have a 0, 0 there. For any circle that's centered around the origin with a radius of r, okay, our equation is going to look like this. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. All right, where r is the radius, x is the x coordinate, and the y is the y coordinate. All right, and now if you have a circle that has a center HK, okay, what that means is think of H as the horizontal shift of the circle, and think of K as the vertical shift, just like when we did the parabolas. All right, so if you have some circle that's been shifted off of the origin, right, off of the origin, it could go anywhere, right, so we're just going to call it HK. All right, our equation is going to look like this. X minus h, all right, that's the horizontal shift, squared, plus y minus k squared equals r squared. All right, these are the two equations that you're going to need to know when you are graphing circles. All right, so why don't we do an example so you can see how actually quite easy this is. All right, we're going to start with a circle that's centered around its origin. Okay, so let's say I have, let's do an example here. Let's say I have an equation that looks something like this. X plus 3, we're doing it around the origin. If I did x squared plus y squared equals, let's do 9. X squared plus y squared equals 9. Okay, I know immediately that this is not a parabola, right? Because it's got this y in it. All right? So I know I'm dealing with a circle. Okay, so I know that this is centered around the origin because, right, there is no horizontal shift. See this h and that k? Those both represent horizontal and vertical shifts. This doesn't have any shift in it, right? It's just x squared plus y squared equals r squared. All right, so we know that our center of this circle is going to be right there at the origin. Now the question is, what is my radius? Well, if you'll notice, the radius is some number that's been squared. All right, so in other words, I need a square here, right? So if I went x squared plus y squared equals, I couldn't say 9 squared, right? Because 9 squared is not the same as 9. So what number squared gives you 9. Well, or you could just say the square root of 9 is 3. Make that a little bit nicer. All right? So essentially, I'm saying the same thing. 3 squared is the same as saying 9. So what is my radius? Well, my radius is the number that is squared. So my radius would not be 9, my radius would be 3. Right? So knowing that my radius is 3, what I can do here is I know my center is at the origin. So I just count 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, right? And a circle has all equal lengths. The radius is equal. All parts of the circle. Now my thing is not drawn to scale here, so my circle might be a little jacked up. Alright, I'll just do my best here. Somewhat of a circle. Alright, so there's my circle. Center at the origin, radius of 3, and there's the graph. Okay, super simple, especially when they're at the origin. Okay, but what happens when it's not centered at the origin? Let's take a look at another example. Let's say I have x plus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals, let's say 16. 16. All right. So I'm looking at this, and I know, okay, this is not a parabola, I have a y here. This is a circle. I look at this again, I think, okay, I know that this is not going to be centered at the origin because I have this horizontal shift and I have a vertical shift here. Okay, so the question is, how is this going to shift? All right. So if you remember, I don't know if you remember from parabolas, but tell me what value of x would make all of this 0? Well, it wouldn't be 2, because 2 plus 2 is 4, and 4 squared is 16. But negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Right? 0 squared is 0. So the value for x would be a negative 2. So my horizontal shift is actually going to be negative 2. Another way to think about it is just do the opposite of what you think. That looks like a shift of 2 to the right. In reality, it's just a shift of 2 to the left. All right, so let's do this with a different color here. Use green. So I know that I'm going to be shifted 2 to the left. Now, what about my vertical shift? Okay, so what value for y would make this equal to 0? Would be 3, right? 3 minus 3 is 0. So this is going to be a vertical shift of 3 up. Right? So again, just think opposite. You see a minus 3 there? Just go the opposite. It's up. All right, so I have a horizontal shift of 2 to the left, 1, 2, and 3 up. 1, 2, 3. So there's my center. Okay, so my center would be at what? Negative 2, 3 would be my center. All right, now what's my radius? Before I can draw my circle, I have to know the radius. Okay, well, I need to, this number on the right is going to be my radius term. Okay, so if I just drew this, write this all out again. Okay, what number squared gives you 16? Well, it'd be 4. Right? Square root of 16 is 4. So I just put a 4 there. So 4 squared is 16. So my radius would be 4. So my radius equals 4. Okay, I don't have any units for this. I'm just doing 4 squares. All right, so if I'm going to, we're in green here. So my radius is 4. Here's my center. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a dot here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a dot there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, that way I get at least 4 different places on my graph. It helps me draw my circle. All right, and then I just connect these. And because my coordinate grid is not really drawn to scale, my circles are kind of goofy. All right, so there's my circle. You can see how it's been shifted 2 to the left, 3 up, and it's got a radius of 4, and I'm done. I'm done. All right, let's do one more example, which will illustrate one more thing that you need to know. Okay, so let's try one more example. All right. Say that on my example, I have a circle with radius of square root of 2 and center at 9. Ooh. Let's not do 9. Let's do 6, -3. Will that give me room? Not really. Let's do 4. Alright, so I have a circle with a radius of the square root of 2 and a center that's located at the ordered pair 4, -3. Okay, and the instructions are write an equation. Okay, write an equation. Write an equation. Okay, so I know that I have a shift here, don't I? The center is not at the origin. Okay, so I need to x. Okay, what's going to be my horizontal shift? What's my horizontal shift? Well, my horizontal shift is +4, right? 4 to the right. Okay, but remember, in order to show that, you've got to think the opposite. It's going to actually be -4. All right, because 4 minus 4 is 0. So x needs to be 4, positive. Okay, now my vertical shift. My vertical shift is -3. Okay, so pause the video and see if you can come up with that number right there. All right. So you not only need the number, but you need the sign. We know the number is going to be a 3 there, right? But so it's going to be a vertical shift of -3, which tells me that needs to be a positive. Just think opposite. All right, -3 plus 3 is 0, so that needs to be a -3. All right. Okay, so I got my equation so far. All right, so it's got a radius of the square root of 2. Radius is square root of 2. Okay, so remember the radius is the number that's squared. All right. So that would be that part right there, right? So I got that, but in order for it to be in this form, the radius has got to be squared. Alright, so that's the radius. Square root of 2 is the radius. Now I have to square that radius to complete my equation. Alright, there's one more thing I can do. I can simplify this. Okay, so what is the square root of 2 squared? You know? Well, let's try. The square root of 2 squared, I don't know if you remember, but remember how a square and a square root, they're inverses of each other, and they undo each other? And I'll prove it. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2, right? That's the square root of 2 squared, right? Equals the square root of 4, correct? And the square root of 4 is 2. So the square root and the square, they undo each other because they're inverses. So I'm just simply left with x minus 4 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 2. And there's my equation. There's my equation. And if I wanted to graph this, what would it be? 1, 2, 3, 4 is my horizontal shift. My vertical shift is 3 down. 1, 2, 3. There's my center. And my radius is actually the square root of 2. And if you go on your calculator, the square root of 2 is approximately 1.41. So it would be something like this. There's 1 and there's 1.5. So something like that. There. 1, 1.5. So it'd be something like this. Okay? That's probably my best circle. Still not perfect. But. Alright, so that's it. That's how to graph circles and find their center and their radius. We will do one more example on the next video, so make sure you check that one out. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel and you'll get alerted anytime I make new channels, anytime I make new videos. Alright? Until then, may God bless you, my friends.